Okie dokie everybody, welcome back. You're here at the Fox Den with Pater Voss, the Papa Fox, and we are going to continue playing Pillars of Eternity by Obsidian Entertainment. When we last left off, we had started to explore Brackenbury. We had basically thwarted a thievery attempt, and we had discussed a quest with this fellow, Thirstwind, trying to get an amulet back from one of his comrades in the Salty Mast, which is a brothel in town. So, let's go ahead and see what else we can see. Each plate and utensil has been polished to a spotless shine, the thin-stemmed goblets rising melodiously at the strike of a fingernail. Okay?
Sure.
Sure. Ah, we can get some spirits. An understudy. The scripts and props belong to a production of The Most Unfortunate Tale of Favia and Bernat. If I sound a little bit growly, it's because my throat is still a little bit under the weather. Ooh, Nantan. I think we... Oh, right, yes, it's this guy. We met him in Gilded Vale. Begging your pardon... Oh, it's you! It's good to see you well. We had a few rough days here, but then we found this place, and they were kind enough to hire us both. Things have been wonderful. I can't tell you how much we appreciate what you've done. Well, there we go. We can talk with Ingrid. It's hard work, but good wages. Can't complain. That we can steal from, if we so choose. Cook. Please don't track dirt in the kitchen. The patrons here are particular. Let's see what's down in the basement. Oh, they have a colorblind mode. That's pretty nifty. Bandit, 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 bandit leader. Okay, why don't we see what this is about? Just having a little chat with my associates. Let's see what's in here. Get some poultry. Okay, we're probably going to have to come back here at some point. Cooler beans. So how are you guys doing? I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I am perfectly able to commentary. We just had a very huge buffet breakfast with a bunch of friends. My son absolutely loves having biscuits and gravy. It's one of his most favorite foods. More to digest. Digestion. Okay. There we go. Oh, we got some pirates. Meredith watches you through kohl-rimmed eyes. She puts her hand on the hilt of her blade, jangling the jewels that hang from her wrist. We don't know each other, stranger. Best keep it that way. You don't seem like a Brackenbury local. I'm a sailor. She gives you a half smile. And a liberator of certain goods. Meredith casually fingers a large earring. And the nice thing about the snobs here is that they're usually too polite to ask more. What brings you to the Charred Barrel? Meredith raises an eyebrow. What's it look like? Good wine? A little peace and quiet. She flips a copper coin with her thumb. And Scarian doesn't ask too many questions. Oh, I'll be going. We're probably going to have to talk with her. She's a named NPC after all. Ooh, scroll of Restore Light Endurance. And some money. It's always useful. Yeah, so he wanted to wander around the whole restaurant, say hello to everybody. My son is absolutely the most helpful little boy ever. It's absolutely amazing. I couldn't have lucked out with a better little tiny family. There we go. I'm wondering, my wife and I, of course, are considering having another at some point in the next little bit, so I'm wondering how the next one will turn out. Because everybody's...
Turning purple. I'd have to cut it off.
I warned you not to pet him.
If I'm not supposed to pet him, why is he so soft?
Oh. Ah, we can climb in there. Cool. Well, we're gonna leave. That was for the heist that we could do. But we don't have a very stealthy party, so Yeah, if Robert, we're planning on getting him a few different things for Christmas, like a little cook set. We got him a shopping cart with some little bits of plastic food and a little doll and a cook set. It's going to be awesome. He's going to be absolutely thrilled. He loves helping and watching us do stuff. It's absolutely amazing. So he should have a wonderful Christmas morning. A barrel filled with rice. Nobles. Barnes and Noble. I should totally make a pun about that, but unfortunately we haven't encountered a barn nor nobles in the same location. Okay, this is, I think, the house of the other family that we're not entirely proud with. I have some water. I wet my throat. Dominell Dorman.
Greetings.
The burly guard eyes you warily. I don't recognize you. What business do you have with House Dominell? Tell me about House Dominell. It's an old and respected family. Much of Defiance Bay's prosperity is due to Dominell business activities. Now, do you have any further business here? Farewell. I will see you out. Huh. Well, okay. I guess we don't have to worry about that too much. There's probably a different way I could have handled all of that, but, you know, there we go.
Have you ever chased a skirt wizard? Or do you merely hide behind them?
Don't pawn your personal problems off on me.
They will use you, cast you off when it suits them. Never speak another word to you.
Maybe they just don't answer to fiery whore.
Yeah, I mean, Durance is a really interesting character, but he's definitely... He has his issues. He has a lot of issues. There's the Sanitarium. Hadret House. Let's go see what else we can see. And, ooh, a fountain. The marble is cool and perfectly smooth. Droplets of crystal clear water bead the statues. Well, let's take a look at the Sanitarium. Just hear me out. With this procedure, her soul would be returned intact, more or less. More or less? Is that how you plan on presenting your idea to Ethelmore? Why? Not good? Not good. Well, there we go. Naden.
Good day to you.
A woman stands in the shade of the garden, muttering to herself. She's fixated on the pages of a large, well-worn tome, seeming oblivious to the blooming flowers and cool, fragrant breeze. She only looks up when your shadow crosses her page. Do you mind? I'm rather busy. Tell me about yourself. I'm an animancer at the Sanitarium. Currently, I'm researching matters related to Widewind's legacy. Anything else? She looks eager to return to her studies. We already know what Widewind's legacy is, but let's go ahead and ask. Widewind's legacy refers to the rise in Hollowbone children in the Deerwood in recent years. Some have also connected it to so-called Beowicks and that blow-through air Glanpath. There's hardly any reliable data on those, though, so I can't really comment. I don't much care for the term Widewind's legacy. It reeks of superstition, but it's too prevalent to change at this point. Personally, I'd like to see people take a more methodical approach to these matters rather than throwing up their hands and blaming the gods. Good to hear someone speaking sense on the matter. Somewhat. So, what are you busy with? She snaps her book shut. I'm studying a soul attachment. We all know that souls move into people at birth and out of them at death, but we still have a lot of questions about what makes them stick, so to speak. So what do you mean about making them stick? She brushes back a stray lock from her forehead. Souls power bodies and their tissues life, and give their tissues life, but only when they're firmly attached. It's separation that leads to a whole spate of soul-related ailments, including the Hollowbone. But if we understand how to reattach souls, we could end Widewind's legacy, maybe even conquer death. She scratches behind her ear. Well, that's the theory, anyway. Unfortunately, I don't have all the research I need to put into practice. Now, what exactly do you need? There's a manuscript called the Theorems of Pangram. It contains research from Pangram's experiments on detached souls. The Hall of Revealed Mysteries is rumored to have a copy in the Elder Archives. Pangram's work is considered to be one of the more daring animancy texts. Not something generally circulated among novices, nor easy to get a hold of. I wonder if we might have a peek at it. The theorems would advance my research by leaps and bounds, but Grimda, the High Archivist, worships whale, which means she has some paradoxical views on sharing and restricting knowledge. And since she's not exactly a proponent of animancy, she tends to restrict the kinds of information that would be useful to me. Maybe she could be persuaded. You're welcome to try, but you wouldn't be the first. Look at me spilling my troubles. It's kind of you to listen, but I should really get back to my work. I have some questions. Tell me about the theorems. Pangram was an animancer working in the Deerwood. He had some interesting theories about essence and some rather innovative techniques for studying it. He was able to reattach souls to bodies after death, but he wasn't able to prevent his patients from degenerating. He was controversial, to say the least, but many are starting to realize that he was merely ahead of his time. Okay, what do you mean by degenerating? Maiden twists her hands together. Well, there seems to be a tiny problem with reattaching souls after death. The bodies will reanimate and may even retain memories and personality, but they develop a hunger for flesh, living, soul-infused flesh. Sorry, 1 second. Without it, they start to devolve, decaying mentally and physically. If the process goes too far, which it eventually does, they become mindless corpses, attacking anything that moves. We haven't figured out a way to avoid that. That is more than an inconvenient side effect. You've reproduced an unnatural curse with little to show for it. That sounds like necromancy. Yeah. Nonsense. Necromancy is magic. This is science. She emphasizes the last word. Why doesn't Grimma lend you the books? Dangerous, I don't see... Okay, basically what we said before. Aloth scowls at the Animancer. Some knowledge is best kept under lock and key. That's all I wanted to ask. We already know the other stuff. Anything else? Nope. Well, let's go ahead and inside the sanitarium. And take some water. There we go. Warden, an animancer from the Republic, Spancello, has requested a visit. Extend a formal invitation. See to it that the necessary preparations are made. Of course. Looks like we have a talking statue. Head Warden Ethelmore. A well-maintained statue of a middle-aged man presides over the room, looking down unblinking over the bustle of harried academics pestered by the hopeful desperate. A strong warmth emanates from it that you could sense from across the room. There is a human soul stored beneath the stonework. You feel its attention turned towards you. It has been some time since a watcher graced these halls. His voice echoes deeply, rumbling the floor beneath you. I am envious of your natural insights, traveler. I can only imagine how it might have helped my work in life. Now, what is it that has brought you to my sanitarium? I'm curious as to how you've come to be in your present state. In the statue, you mean? Well, I was old, and it seemed wrong to me. A lifetime spent in pursuit of discovery, only to lose it all in death. Somewhere, someday, I would wake up in a new body, none the wiser, and pursue a different course entirely. All that an experience wasted. If we are ever to unearth the principles behind our existence, it will be in spite of our condition. Of that I'm quite sure. To live on as part of something I helped build seemed to me a better legacy than what nature had in store. The transfer itself was quite simple as our techniques go, and for that I am grateful. Playing with souls is far easier to accept when they are not your own. I do miss being able to take an active role in the scholarly efforts here. Now and again, one of our animancers will humor me and consult me over some problem, but they are a jealous breed and too often afraid to collaborate. If you're considering it yourself, I can tell you that it isn't for the easily bored. I'm looking for tell me about the sanitarium. A history lesson? This is a rare pleasure. Most come in here only concerned with cheating death in one way or another. We are an old institution as Deerwood goes. This is our 94th year. As with many cities, the growth of Defiance Bay brought with it a host of problems. One of the worst was that those born with, shall we say, ill-favored souls came to populate its streets in droves. Thus the sanitarium. Brackenbury was a natural fit. It was growing, but there was also a lot of money here back then. This place owes its survival to the curiosities of the wealthy more than anything, I think. Our founding came at a time of great suspicion and animancy, much like today, so much progress has been lost to the mishaps of a few careless practitioners. But in time it was forgotten, as all things are. Since we have been at the forefront of Animancy's resurgence, we have played host to many gifted researchers, and pushed the boundaries of our knowledge in ways never thought possible. Some of the first transferences were done here, and we've pioneered work in soul purification, lineage analysis, preservation. It's really quite a list, if you'll pardon my pride. Today it's, well, I can't say it's exactly the same. There's been some push to shut us down. One moment. It comes from Deerwood's more excitable denizens, whose minds are more passionate and thoughtful, I'm afraid. People in this legacy, and people see this legacy, and they see it involves something they don't understand. So it's natural for them to suspect people whose understanding exceeds theirs. It looks to them like we're hiding something. We have a representative in the palace at this very moment, defending the entire science of animancy at a hearing before the Duke. Absurd as it sounds. If it does not go well, it could be the end of animancy in Deerwood. I fear Avar may be swayed by all this unrest, irrational though it may be. We shall see. Well, I'm looking for an animancer named Mordred. Mordred? Of course. You'll find him downstairs in the first room on the right. Oh, farewell. Cool. Let's go see what else we have. This man's soul was torn asunder by a bewick. As you can see, the patient is unresponsive, common after-soul trauma. The animancer places a stone upon the patient's forehead. A portion of his soul was recovered near his body. We used this stone as a vessel for the transfer. Can you hear me, Allswit? The patient's eyes slowly open before a panicked, wild expression washes over him. Unfortunately, the extended dissociation has permanent side effects. The patient becomes more agitated, grunting and moaning as he tugs at his bonds. With further research, we are confident that we'll be able to rehabilitate patients like Oswin. That does not seem like a very good idea. When you're playing with somebody in partial steps. Let's talk with Odmer.
Hail, traveler.
A bald man with a crooked nose gestures in demonstration over the still body of a patient before a small gathering of interested onlookers. Filling her gaze, he pauses a discussion. Have you come to sit in? What is it you do here? Close as we are to the Glanfathan Wilds, we get a number of Beowick maimings every year. Survivors dealing with complications from exposure. This fellow here is a severe case. His essence is a mere whisper of what it was. I'm early in my research, only beginning to understand how they work, but in time I hope to find a way to protect people from the storm's effects.
Hail, traveler.
I'd like to know more. Okay, worked wonders. Insatiable hungers and uncontrollable urges. I've seen people crippled walk and the dysphoric smile. All within these walls. Cool. Awesome. So they do help people. And sometimes in order to help people, it takes little bit to actually do that. Yeah. Cool, what else have we got? Let's go ahead and pick this one up. All the books! Oh, excuse me. Holy moly. Midwife's Memoirs. And a Psalm to Wodaka. Let's see what else we have going on. Another bookcase. Ader Customs. And I do believe we are going to try to go downstairs. Ah, my voice is just getting worse and worse as the day goes on. This will be interesting to listen to back on the recording. I do appreciate you guys bearing with me on this. Let's see. First door on... Well, this is the left, but let's see. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Let's open this door. There's Mordred. Let's leave the trunk alone. Let's talk with him first. An Animancer scribbles feverishly on a parchment scroll while his free hand dances through the air, counting off unseen objects. His lips move in silent discourse. As your shadow falls over his scroll, he looks up at you with mingled perplexity and irritation.
Hail, traveler.
Can I help you? He forces a polite smile. What are you working on? My area of focus is Wicts. More specifically, how to cure them. Why do you study Wicts? Ha! What kind of question is that? Just think of all the families that could be healed, the lives that could be restored. What could be more important? His face has reddened as he turns away, from you for a moment. He shakes his head. Animancy has an answer here, I know it. It's simply a matter of working it out. Just for humoring us, what do you think a Wict is? A hollowborn who received a transplanted animal soul during infancy. One of Animancy's early efforts to cure the legacy, if not a successful one. He removes his spectacles and wipes his brow. They show signs of developmental abnormalities throughout their childhood. But when they reach adolescence, they become aggressive, feral. But still victims in need of care. That seems like an odd solution. We Animancers were trying to do something about the crisis, better than letting it swallow a generation of children. He stares at a fixed point on the far wall. And despite the controversy, it only went so far because, at first, it seemed to work. People called it the salvation. Children that had never been responsive to any kind of stimuli suddenly seemed aware of their surroundings, of their families. The complications didn't begin until puberty. But that's when the incompatibilities between the body and soul take shape. Children become violent, ravenous. But we paid dearly for our mistake, I promise you. Angry mobs hunted down Animancers and burned down their homes, with them still inside often as not. People took to calling it the cruel salvation, and many still loathe us for it. But we wanted to stop the legacy as much as anyone. The public begged for our help, and we did the best we could. I still don't know if that absolves us. No, it kind of doesn't. I mean, I can understand how, like, they should have done tests. There should have been oversight on, like, okay, let's try this out. Let's have people volunteer. But it shouldn't be something that they would have, like, it should have been something that should have been have a huge disclaimer at the bottom of this, like all those ads you see for medicines. I see. Does the name Helig mean anything to you? Mordred starts. Helig? He is a colleague of mine. He was primarily a necromancer, but he was involved in animancy too. He worked at the Sanitarium for several years. I dare say everyone here has heard of him. He left his post recently. I believe he was seeking new opportunities in the Valian Republics, he leans forward. The advances they're making in animancy really are quite remarkable. Surely you've heard? Perhaps you haven't. Do you know of a woman named Rona? No, I don't. I don't get out of the Sanitarium much. About Helig. I heard it differently. He slides his spectacles down his nose. Just what are you insinuating? If this is your idea of a joke, I assure you, it's in very poor taste. So you didn't sink a blade into... So you didn't sink a blade into his chest and dump him in the catacombs? He'll be relieved to hear it. Mordred pales. How could... He sighs and runs a hand over his hair. Very well, yes, I killed him. I killed that beast because nobody else had the spine for it. He was a madman. Years of perverse experiments, twisting healthy souls, torturing damaged souls, and for what? He flayed the essence from Glanfathan and indigents for his amusement. He waves down the hall. If the public had known half of his deeds, they'd have razed this place to the ground. He jabs his finger on the desk. He used the sanitarium to disguise his own sick proclivities. He brought shame on all of us, and put the entire discipline at risk. I regret nothing. He calms down and sizes you up. Anyway, now you know the whole of the grisly story. Helig's soul returned to his corpse through sinister magic. He wants revenge. No doubt. He spreads his hand wide. But now you understand why I killed him. Someone had to. If he sent you, I only hope I can convince you to return and slay him once and for all. He has something I need. You'd consider a deal with that monster? He puts his head in his hand. If what I've told you hasn't swayed you, I doubt anything will. I must return to my work. I wish you well. Examine the trunk more closely. Nothing grabs your attention except for the padlock. We're going to leave it alone. I think we're probably just going to have to kill him and bring the amulet back here, I think. Let's see what we got. Belasig.
Good day, stranger.
See. Oh, right. Actually, that was actually the end of the episode. Sorry about that. If you've enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like or give me some feedback if you prefer. Of course, if you enjoy my other work, then a subscription to the channel would also be most appreciated. As always, it's great to see you all here at the Fox, and I hope you come back next time and pull up a chair for some more Pillars of Eternity. Alrighty, you take care now. Bye.